Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankum. It's a really fun one today. We're talking about acting performances in the Wizarding World franchise. And there was a lot of them, that's for sure. But I've got a couple of great guests with me. I've got Kelsey over here. Kelsey, how's it going?
It's going great. Happy to be here. Excited to talk some Harry Potter.
And also here, I believe it's his first time on Rankum. I've got Amaru. Amaru, how's it going?
Second time. I was here for sports films, and Dan
Oh, that's
Chagall
right.
was very mad at me telling him that Hoosiers couldn't be on that list, and I stand by that.
I stand by that too, even though I haven't seen it. But yeah, this is going to be a fun one. Eight performances in the midfield, and how the show works is each person nominates a acting performance they think belongs on a top 12 list, and then at the end we rank them. But yeah, so I'll go to Amaru first. Amaru, what's your first nomination?
All right. So I've never really thought about like acting performances in the Wizarding World. I just because I love the movies, but I look for at that. So when you posted this, I was like, oh yes. And there's one man in mind that I felt had to go number one, like based off of Prisoner of Azkaban alone, and that's Gary Oldman. Just the scene in the Shrieking Shack when 12 years of waiting. There's like this that piece of acting alone just puts him just top notch acting performance in Wizarding World. So I had to go Gary Oldman as Sirius Black. That man is amazing.
Kelsey, what do you say about Gary Oldman?
Well, Gary Oldman is one of my favorite actors of all time, and I think nobody could have done this role the way he does. He is fantastic. He is sweet and funny and charming, so you understand why people love him, but he's also, you can tell he's gone through some crap and is dealing with it. So his performance is very layered as well. So I absolutely agree it needs to be on this list.
Yeah, I would have easily agreed as well. Gary Oldman is just one of those ones that seems to can do anything these days. I think he gets into any world, like automatically fits the world. He must have some magic potion somewhere, but Gary Oldman makes the list. Kelsey, what is your first nomination?
All right, this one, that was the first one to pop in my head because an entire franchise, especially when the villain is the same person throughout the entire thing, a lot relies on how good of a performance that villain does. And so my nomination is Ralph Fiennes for Voldemort. If he was not good in this role, the whole last half of the franchise would have been very lackluster because you've been building for this. And then if he didn't do a good job, he didn't pull his weight, I feel like the whole franchise could have just like kind of sucked at that point. But I feel like he did a fantastic job. And so that's why I nominate him for it.
Yeah, Ralph Fiennes as Voldemort is easily belongs on this list. He's just everything he did, like ever since he Goblet, just incredible. Just the way he memorized it. But yeah, Ralph Fiennes makes the list. Amaru, what would you have said?
I love Ralph Fiennes. I love him in this role, but I would not have him in my top 12. I kind of think the amount of yelling that he does just over and over and over and over again kind of just sticks in my head. It's not a bad performance. It's not a bad performance at all. Everything you said is true, where if he didn't deliver, it just would have fallen flat. I just think there are a lot of other more either maybe not underutilized, but they're not on screen as much or not talked about as much that when I thought about it, I was like, these people's performances, I feel like better acting performances for what they're given than Ralph Fiennes. But I love him. I love him in it. I did not have him in my 12.
That's fair. Go to me for my first one. I'm going to go for a character that's had two different interpretations in the movies. Actually, three in the franchise. But I'm going for Richard Harris as Albus Dumbledore. As much as I like Michael Gambon, I think Richard Harris shows the true spirit of Dumbledore, just the way you would imagine him to be like in the books, just as alas, Erex. Just, I mean, both of them are both Gambon and Harrison, even Jude Law to an extent. I like all three, and I mean they all. I might bring up one of the other ones later, but we'll see how we go. But Richard Harris is who I'm bringing up first, and I think this one deserves. Amaru, what do you say about Richard Harris as Dumbledore?
I'm gonna say that y'all are gonna have a lot of fun with me today. I don't know. There are a lot of people that like. Here's where it comes down to: when we have 12, and you have somebody on that fringe, and you're like, man, but I really want to fight for one of my other ones. And for me, I'm gonna throw it to you, Kelsey, and say no, because I don't know whether or not I want to see two Dumbledores on this list. I just want a definitive one, and Harris is not my one. So I'm gonna pass it on to you, Kelsey, and see how it goes.
Kelsey, what do you say?
Harris is the only Dumbledore I have on my list because he is my favorite version of Dumbledore. I would have loved to see him get to complete the franchise. It's very tragic to me that he didn't get to, but he was exactly what I pictured in the books. Just the way his voice was, just the way he carried himself. He was the perfect Dumbledore to me. So I say yes.
I don't know. I just like the mischievousness of Gambon. That like the wink and the smile. Just on top of that he brought that for me. That's why I have Gambon over here.
So I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but Chris Diaz says he prefers Jude Law over the other two. Which is
I like Jude Law, but
yeah, I mean, Amaru, what's your next nomination?
Okay, so I said Oldman was the first that I thought of, but he was the first that I thought of as like purely acting. This is the first person I thought of because he confirmed my favorite character of the entire franchise. The absolute best person, the best character of the entire thing is Sir Remus Lupin, and David Thewlis is just magnificent as the worn down, warm, smart, mischievous, everything you want in your favorite teacher is in David Thewlis. And I absolutely adore that man, and I absolutely adore my favorite DA teacher ever. So I'm going David
Thewlis. Kelsey, what do you say about David Thewlis?
Lupin is one of my favorite characters. I really enjoy that character. I love his story arc. I love everything he goes through in the movies and the books. I do enjoy that performance. I didn't have it on my list, but for everything you said, you've kind of sold me on it, so I'm going to say yes.
With that, David Thewlis does make this list. This is one that I do like. David Thewlis's Lupin. For me, he's just outside of the top 12. I think he's great. I just think in the limited time that we see him on screen, he didn't give me enough Lupin-esque. And I think there's a few others that haven't been mentioned I think deserve it more than him. But David Thewlis does make this list regardless. And Kelsey, we go to you.
All right. You'll notice a trend with my list. There's a lot of villains who we would put in it. This person in the books was terrifying, like gave me nightmares terrifying. And then seeing her portray the character on screen, she just added this creepiness and weirdness to her. And it's probably not who you think I'm going to say. It is Imelda Staunton as Dolores Umbridge. She is terrifying. She has cats behind her. She dresses in a cute little pink suits, and she does have that like prissy, personality to her. But she's pure evil, and she just radiates that as in that character. So I thought she was perfect casting, and so I am nominating her for the list.
Yeah, this is an absolute yes. A great. I mean, as I've always say, like when talking about great heroes in the Schmodown or great villains in any movie is like a great villain makes you want to punch them in the face, and if you see them in real life, and Imelda sort of does that with everything she does. And even though she may look like someone who you wouldn't associate to be a villain with dressing up all the pig and liking cats, but just everything she does shows that she is great, and I really love her interactions with someone else who may or may not make this list, McGonagall. Those interactions just are great, and as well. Amory, what would you have said about Imelda Staunton?
Malcolm, the way this is going, this looks like this might be like a record for your shortest show ever, because this is an absolute yes. That laugh alone, Imelda, she absolutely killed how much I hate her. Killed how much I hate her. Imelda Staunton is amazing. And I was so giddy when I got to saw McGonagall and Umbridge Part 2 in Downton Abbey movie. I was so happy.
I too. I love them.
Was so happy. So yes, Imelda Staunton is a definite yes for this.
But it's back to me. I'm going for one that the way we're going, we may not get to this one. It's going to be a shame if he doesn't make it. I'm going for Alan Rickman as Snape. He's just the whatever Alan does in this is just great. Whether it's the whole big speech and Philosopher's Stone, where it's like he's talking about Harry like bottling fame and all that. To turn to page 394. Just he's. It's just one of those performances in which it's easily memorable, and he's one that to be a double agent who really is a double agent for both sides is just one of those ones. But I mean, the one that really sells it for me for Alan Rickman is his death scene, in which he says to Harry that he was truly in love with Lily, and just everything and all that just breaks your heart. Amory, what would you say about Alan Rickman?
I have my own thoughts about the character of Snape himself. I've had arguments with friends about whether or not he is redeemable, he is great, he is not. But Alan Rickman is, if he's not on this list, it's about as bad as when y'all didn't put Heath Ledger on for DC. But that's another talk for another day. Alan Rickman deserves to be on this list for sure. Again, there are just the amount of legendary actors in this entire franchise. We may get to some points where we're like, man, we have to kick them off, but Alan Rickman deserves to be on this list for sure.
But Kelsey, what would you say about Alan Rickman?
Oh yes, I am a Slytherin, and so even when I was reading the books, I was like, this is a cool character. I mean, he's kind of an asshole, but I really like this character. And then just getting to see his like arc throughout the entire stories, and where it is arguable whether he's redeemed or not. I kind of don't think he is per se, but I don't really care. I still love him. So I absolutely think Alan Rickman nailed that character. I, once again, cannot picture anyone else playing Snape as well as he did. And so if he was not on this list, it would be a crime. So it would have been yes.
But Amory, we go back to you for your next nomination.
All right. You brought her up before, so I have to bring her up now. The Dowager Countess herself, Dame Maggie Smith as McGonagall, as creepy and scary as Umbridge is how much of a I better sit down and shut up and listen to whatever she says right now before I get in trouble that Maggie Smith is able to get out of McGonagall. I don't think I could see anybody else doing it as powerfully as Maggie Smith did it. She is the epitome of strict but caring but loving. And the two scenes from her that really nail it down for me actually come towards the end of the series. One, when she sees Harry come back and it says, "It's good to see you, Potter," after she gets Snape out of there. And my favorite is when she used Piatortum Locomotor and she says, "I've always wanted to do that," just to see her break from the sternness and the smile. Yeah. Dame Maggie Smith is a gem, and we do not deserve her.
Kelsey, what do you say about Maggie Smith?
I adore Maggie Smith, and you're perfectly 100% right with her being like the sense of warmth and kindness and knowledge. Like she is like I feel like one of the smartest people. She has just all these like nuggets of wisdom that she passes on to everybody every time she talks. And Maggie Smith is just a treasure and plays her so well. And if even though like I said, I'm a Slytherin, I would have loved her get to have a good relationship with McGonagall if I was going to Hogwarts because I feel like it would have benefited me greatly as a student. I have her on my list as well because I think she is just amazing on the screen, engaging, charming, funny, and then scary against the bad guys when she needs to be. It's great.
Yeah, Maggie Smith would have easily been on mine as well. Nothing much more to say that the others haven't said. But I mean, Maggie Smith is just like it just shows that how many like great, well-established British casts they've brought into Harry Potter, and there's still a whole lot more that they didn't bring in. I would have loved to see Judi Dench somewhere in this there as well.
Right.
Exactly, because I mean, Judi Dench and Maggie Smith, I think, has been in a lot of movies together. So, but it's just be interesting to see what would happen. But Kelsey, what's your next nomination?
Who should I pick next? Back to my usual trend. I tend to really enjoy a really good, evil, dark character. The least redeemable they are, the better to me, because I feel like being able to play that character and not be scared to like make people not like you is really interesting. So I am going to go with Helena Bonham Carter as Bellatrix. I love Bellatrix. She is wicked and crazy and scary and does some awful things, and yet you can't take your eyes off Helena Bonham Carter in that role, and so I'm putting her on my nomination.
Helena Bonham Carter as Bellatrix. This is an easy one for me. This is a yes. Like when I was reading the books, like anytime I read any book, my mind just automatically goes to like, who could I see them playing this person in the movie? I don't think I would have picked Helena Bonham Carter personally, but when I saw her on screen, it's just she captured that essence and just ran with it, and it ended up being something amazing. And I think it's the unexpected casting choices which you don't see that I think work a lot better on screen. So she does make this list. Amaru, what would you have said?
She was my 13, but with complete and full knowledge that I was going to be wrong. And there's no way she wasn't going to be on this list. It was just in case I can get my sneak ones in here. She was my 13, but I knew she was going to be on the list no matter what I said. So,
Right. It's back to me. This is actually getting really hard. I'm going for someone who improved with every movie this person has been in, and we've talked a lot about the older actors, but I think but I think this out of the younger actors, I think this one deserves to be in here, and it may not be the one you people are expecting, but I'm going Matthew Lewis as Neville Longbottom. There, this one may come as a surprising pick to some people, but I think Matthew Lewis grew into this character throughout the movies, because from the first movie when he was standing up to Harry, Ron, and Hermione, all the way to killing Nagini like a boss in a cardigan. It's just one of those ones that I think transcends maybe even the original trilogy. Maybe if I've got time, one of them will come up too. But I think Matthew Lewis belongs on this list. Amaru, what do you say?
Matthew Lewis was one of the guys, one of the people that I gave real consideration for. There were a couple that I was like, maybe at the beginning they were overlooked, but as they went on, they did get better and better. But for me, I have 4 other people that I want to see on this list. 2 others specifically that I think also fit that bill where they got a lot better, or either got a lot better or got a lot more to do as they went along. So unfortunately, I'm gonna say no to Matthew Lewis. Definitely, he was definitely one of the ones that I had in my head. Like he might be able to flip on there, 10, 11 or 12.
Kelsey, what do you say about Matthew Lewis?
I also had Matthew Lewis kind of like in an honorable mentions area. He did greatly improve, but like the first half of the franchise, it was kind of a rough start. He wasn't that great on camera, in my opinion, but he definitely grew into the role. And by the end, he was fantastic. But I like trying to like the whole thing as a whole. It was more rough start than it was the great finale. So I will probably say no as well.
That's totally fair, and it's usually about this point people start getting strategic too. Amaru, what do you say? What is your next nomination?
Okay, so the next character on my list was one that I had my list already, and then this character popped in my head, and the actor popped in my head. I was like, crap, I have to completely just. More so because it's one of the most annoying characters ever. But damn, did he do so well at it? And Kenneth Branagh as Gilderoy Lockhart is just he embodied how much you don't like that man. But somehow people love Gilderoy, but he's annoying. It's just he made you like somebody you don't like. That's really it. And the fact that I think he was one of the first. Because I don't think I was old enough to really recognize who Richard Harris was. He was one of the first that I saw, and I was like, wow, y'all got people like doing this movie. Y'all got people doing this movie. So Kenneth Branagh is my nomination for Gilderoy Lockhart.
Kelsey, what do you say about Kenneth Branagh?
I love Kenneth Branagh. I am a huge fan of his. He's in many movies, and he's very good at that kind of role where, like, kind of arrogant and pompous, but also kind of charming and funny and things like that. Like he's also played Sir Laurence Olivier and like My Week Marilyn. He nails that as well. And I love Gilderoy Lockhart. It is one of my favorite roles in all of the franchise. I think it's fantastic, and I say yes for the list because he did such a good job.
And Kenneth Branagh does make this list. Yeah, I would have been torn because like you only see him in the one movie. I do wish we saw him. They put his scenes in all of the Phoenix, but I get that that because of time constraints they just couldn't fit it in with it. But yeah, he really. There's an annoying character, but in saying that, it was an annoying character in the books, and that's what he was supposed to be. And so I actually would have leaned towards yes as well. Kelsey, what is your next nomination?
All right, I'm going to break my trend a little bit. So I'm going to put somebody that's not a bad guy. But this person is super important to the franchise. Like from day one, opening scene, it's just carries the whole franchise on his huge shoulders because we need that levity, we need that sweetness, we need that hope. And I feel like Hagrid brings that hope to the franchise. And Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid is like phenomenal casting. He's just this sweet teddy bear, but also you could tell that he's been through some stuff, and I think he nails that role. So I'm nominating Hagrid, Robbie Coltrane.
Kelsey, you read my mind. It was literally the next person I was going to bring up. Robbie Coltrane is one of those ones that does belong here, and just everything he does from the moment you see him, it's just great. Like, and he's definitely got a lot of great moments as well, and whether it's bashing down the doors. I should not have said that. But I mean, he's just one of those ones you need for Hagrid. And yeah, so it's a yes for me. Amu, what would you have said about Robbie Coltrane?
I wouldn't have put him on here. I thought of him early, and I was like, I love him as Hagrid, but I had a lot of people ahead of him, and I think for me, he suffered the opposite of Matthew Lewis, where more towards the end of the original 8, we saw less and less of him, and there was less for him to do. And for me, especially in Deathly Hallows Part 2, when I finally saw him, I was like, okay. Well, I guess that's all we're getting from him. And yeah, I have. I just had a lot of people ahead. So I would have said.
There's only 2 spots left on this list. I'm going to try and get another one of these ones on here. I'm bringing up Emma Watson as Hermione. Emma Watson is another one I think improved a lot over the series. Like in the first couple, like just all the kids, like they were getting into it. They hadn't really done anything beforehand, but then as soon as they went on, they went seasoned. And out of the 3, only 2 of the 3 are kind of getting regular work. One of them have kind of fell off, but Emma Watson, I think, is what is the better one, is the one that improved the most. I think in Deathly Hallows, she was even outshining Harry Potter, who's supposed to be the main character. So I think Emma Watson is deserving of this list. Amu, what do you say about Emma Watson?
Emma Watson was my 12th. She was my 12, and she was the one of the kid actors who, growing up, I thought, as I grew, thought she got really, really good at her role. But there are 2 other people on this list who I really want to see, and I hope to get around. And out the 2 that I'm looking at, I have one higher than the other, and I'm like, do I want to try to get my sneak in there? I don't know, but because I had to knock a couple others off, I'm going to say, unfortunately, no for Emma Watson.
Kelsey, what do you say about Emma Watson?
All right. On my list, Emma Watson is the only child character from the franchise I have on there, because I feel like she started off being one of the better ones and then just grew better and better, and now she's just, I think, one of the most talented actresses working. I'd love to see her in more things. I think she nailed Hermione. My nitpicks about Hermione as a character had nothing to do with her portraying the character. Is more, I feel like, script things and costume, makeup issues, but her portrayal of Hermione, I feel, was fantastic, and I say yes.
Emma Watson makes list. We've only got 1 spot left. Amaru, can you fill it?
Okay, so this is decided what I'm going to do. So out of all the ones I've talked about, where I was like, this is one, like, maybe I can sneak them in. This is the one person that I was just, I've erased like 4 or 5 others, and she has continuously came up and stuck in my head. And I think she might be the biggest reason I don't have Hagrid, because she feels the warmth and the love and the caring. Julie Walters carries Molly Weasley better and better and better and better the entire series. Probably outside of Not My Daughter, You Bitch, 5th movie, her trying to keep Harry out of everything. I want her to be my mother. Like, she is the embodiment of Molly Weasley. Julie Walters kills that role. So she's the sneak one. I'm going to try to get in here and see what happens. Even though it's the last pick and there are like a good 4 other people in there that's like, that should be on this list. But hey, I'm trying. So I'm going Julie Walters.
Kelsey, what do you say about Julie Walters?
Now that we're getting to this final spot, it is really hard, because I think all of us have lots of people on our list. We're like, oh crap, there's no room for them. And so there's that moment of really trying to decide like who to prioritize. I do have her on my list. She was, I think, like, I've been deleting things. I think she was at like 11. She is fantastic in the role. She's so believable as that tough mom that you would have to be able to be to handle that many children. Like, she is very believable and sweet and funny, but she brings it up a notch and kicks butt in those last movies. And do I want to end the list? I guess we'll end the list now. I think she should be on.
Hey, yes,
Yeah, yeah. for me, as much as I love Julie Walters, and she was on my list as well, I probably would have leaned towards no, just for the fact that we don't see her in the movie. The only times we really see her is in the last movie for a lot of the time, and that's probably where my choice for this one would have come down to. Would been it would have come down to how much we saw of her on screen. But I mean, I don't hate her actually making this list. But yeah, so our 12 that Harry Potter acting performance that we're ranking is we've got Gary Oldman as Sirius Black, Ray Fiennes as Voldemort, Richard Harris as Dumbledore, David Thewlis as Lupin, Imelda Staunton as Umbridge, Alan Rickman as Snape, Dame Maggie Smith as McGonagall, Helena Bonham Carter as Bellatrix Lestrange, Kenneth Branagh as Gordon Lockhart, Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid, Emma Watson as Hermione, Julie Walters as Molly. Amu, what honorable mentions did you have?
So there are 4 other people I had. Well, they're more than that, but there's 4 that's like still on the list. One from the list that I had that was actually higher than Julie Walters, but I really wanted her in. Brendan Gleeson as Mad Eye did really, really good. Did really well being Mad Eye. And then I also had I never know how to pronounce man's name, but Risa Fiennes as Xenophilius, and Jim Broadbent as Slughorn. But my favorite honorable mention is one that I'm surprised when I thought of him because he has such little screen time. But I think Bill Nighy does really well as Scrimgeour with the very limited screen time he got. I won't mention it, but who Chris Diaz mentioned in the chat for Fantastic Beasts might have been the only Fantastic Beasts one, but I'll let that go. But Bill Nighy for me, just his voice, like out of everything, just the voice with the lion mane just went perfect. So those are my honorable mentions.
Kelsey, what honorable mentions did you have?
A lot of them did actually make it on the list, but the one I'll say that didn't was Jason Isaacs, Lucius Malfoy. Once again, I'm a huge Slytherin Darkseid fan, and I think he just pulls that like elegant creepiness. He has this like way he carries himself that just seems dignified and rich, but yet he does horrible and says horrible things, and he's just very layered, interesting as a character. So he was the one that was on my honorable mentions that didn't make it.
Yeah, for me, like on mentions, I had Gambon as Dumbledore as well. I also like Jude Law to an extent. But I mean, it's saying that, but like I didn't bring up Jude Law because one movie isn't really enough to sort of get on this list. And I mean, while we do have a couple which did only have one movie, but anyway, and one that I did consider, but then chose to not bring it up during the nomination process. I really like Dawn French as the fat lady for the limited screen time. It broke the sound of my voice. It's just that little moment is great. It's like, but when I was looking down, I was like, yeah, that one will be if I needed to bring it out because we're stretching, but as it turned out, we weren't. And yeah, I mean, and Chris did bring up Dan Fogler in the chat. Like with a lot of the Fantastic Beasts actors, I like them. And I do think like Eddie Redmayne as Newt and all that. I think they're great. I just don't think their performances is on par with the OG Harry Potter cast, and they would have been a lot tougher to get in. But yeah, but now we get to the ranking page. We're going to write down who we think what should be at 12 on our whiteboard or bit of paper, whichever we've got handy.
As we wait for that, since she didn't get mentioned, I also had Emma Thompson as Trelawney.
Oh yes,
was also great.
She's so good. there's so many actors and actresses that I had to leave off strictly because my list was getting too long.
Oh, yeah.
This cast is so good.
Oh, definitely. Because I mean, I also had David Bradley as Fulch as a potential one too. So, but Kelsey, who do you have for 12?
I have David Lewis.
Amu.
Robbie Coltrane.
Yeah. So we go to the chat. I put
Hey,
Julie
chat!
Walters. so chat. Julie
Chat.
Walters, David Thewlis, or Robbie Coltrane at 12. And I'll give them some time before I decide to go to set up a randomized reel to do it, so get through this a little bit quicker, even though we've got plenty of time because the nomination process only took about half an hour.
Yep.
There you go.
There was not much arguing this time. We're like, yep, you're right.
Looks like we've got something in the chat.
One for David.
That one for David. And that is what I will go with. But
Breaking
David,
my heart, people. Breaking my heart.
but Amu, who do you have for 11?
Still got Robbie.
I've still got Julie. Kelsey.
I put Julie.
For 10, I've actually got Kenneth Branagh. Kelsey.
I have Emma Watson.
Amu.
I have a different name. Hagrid.
So we've got Kenneth Branagh, Emma Watson, or Robbie Coltrane for 10. I'll give probably say about 4 to 5 minutes to wait to see if I get a response, but otherwise I will set up a reel. Oh, we've got
Chat.
comments.
Chat.
And both Star Drew and Chris Dares has put Kenneth. So Kenneth Branagh will be 10th. Now we go to 9. This is actually getting tough.
It's really hard.
Amu, do you still have Hagrid or Robbie
I do.
Coltrane?
Still got Robbie.
Kelsey.
Still there for me.
I have Emma Watson still.
Yeah, I even though she improved, I've also put Emma Watson. Because I think putting her over some of the other actors, which we already established, is harder at this point.
gonna go because I'm not changing. It's Mr. Coltrane.
I actually haven't written anything down. Kelsey, who do you have?
Robbie Coltrane.
I put Imelda.
All right, now here comes the hard part for me.
I know. It's great.
Hagrid is going to be 8. But Stardrew thinks that Emma Watson should be in the top 5, and she said that he said Hagrid should be in the top 7. I'm sorry to disappoint you. And Chris, I mean, Daniel did improve in the series, but it wasn't as much as Emma. But Kelsey, who do you have for 7?
It's getting really hard, so I put Helena Bonham Carter.
Amu.
You almost changed my mind, but no, I'm gonna go Ray Fiennes.
I put Imelda. So chat, we've got Imelda, Ray Fiennes, and Helena Bonham Carter. Who do you think should be at 7? Give you a couple minutes while I set up the swirl, and if no one's there, then it'll be spun. Okay, so it's narrowed down to Helena and Ray Fiennes. The chat didn't actually help us.
Come on, guys, break the tie.
But
wheel.
I'm getting there. I'm just changing it so it's just Ray Fiennes and Helena Bonham Carter because no point. I think I may have stuffed that up. Damn it. No, the wheel is spinning, and it's going to be Ray Fiennes. Ouch.
My heart. No, I actually almost wrote his name as well, and then I changed it to Helena Bonham Carter. This list is hard.
I actually wouldn't have written him for a while. It would have been close to my number 1.
I've reevaluated my list order while doing this list. Oh yeah, you're right. That person should be higher than that person.
Now we're down to 6. And just to recap who we've got left. We've got Gary Oldman, Ray Fiennes, Richard Harris. No, we don't have Ray Fiennes. Gary Oldman, Richard Harris, Imelda, Alan Rickman, Maggie Smith, and Helena Bonham Carter. All right. Amu, who do you have for 6?
Richard Harris.
Kelsey.
Still Helena Bonham Carter.
And still Imelda.
Come on, chat. I need your help.
I think Colin Farrell was the only Fantastic Beasts person I had considered, deep consideration. Dan Fogler was there, but I think Colin Farrell was it for me. And we again have
tie again. Yeah, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I'm not a huge fan of the Fantastic Beasts movie. I've seen them each once. I had fun when I watched them, but they don't have that rewatchability to me that the original franchise does. I've seen all of those movies probably a dozen times.
So apparently more people love Imelda than what I thought.
I love Imelda.
I mean, yeah, I mean, she's great. I didn't think she would have been higher than Ray Fiennes, Richard Harris, and Helena, and it's going to be Richard Harris that goes to number 6. Which I actually don't hate. I mean, he was good, but I think this is probably where I probably would have put him. And I mean, once again, the number of movies probably is another thing for Richard. Like, he only really had the chance to do it for 2, so
Yeah.
going to top 5. But Amur, who do you have for 5?
I now have Helena Bonham Carter.
Kelsey.
I still have Helena Bonham Carter.
I still have Imelda, but doesn't matter.
Yay, we made a decision. Okay. Oh.
All right, yeah, I got it. I need a second for this one now.
I know, right? All of these ones are going to be super painful.
Yeah, so just to recap, we've got Gary Oldman, Imelda Staunton, Alan Rickman, and Dame Maggie Smith.
All right.
All right.
I thought I said all right, but I'm not all right anymore. Yeah, crap.
I honestly had 2 in my head, so that's where I'm at.
Kelsey, who do you have for?
I have Maggie Smith.
I've still got Imelda. Amu.
I have Maggie Smith as well.
No. Amu, who do you have for 3?
Severus Snape. Severus Snape.
Kelsey.
I'm Imelda Staunton.
I've also got Imelda Staunton.
There we go.
All right. Oh no.
and this time, instead of doing your number 1, you instead of doing your number 2, you're doing your number 1.
My 2 favorites.
I mean, going through the cast of this it makes you realise how many of the people that were in Harry Potter have passed away in times 2, because you sadly lost Richard Griffith, Alan Rickman. But Kelsey, what is your number 1?
Gary Oldman.
Amaru.
Yep. No other. Gary Oldman.
Yep.
I've actually got Alan Rickman, but it doesn't matter.
That one was hard. Oh man, that last half of that list was painful. It really was.
I think I had it a little easier because David Thewlis was my 2, but hey.
Yeah. Yep, Alan Rickman was definitely hard. Almost my 1. Him and Gary Oldman, that was hard. That was so hard.
Also, Chris Diaz has a message for you, Amaru.
I mean, no, yeah, he was 3. He was 3.
But just to recap the list. At number 12, we had David Thewlis for Remus Lupin. At 11, we had Julie Walters as Molly. At 9, we had Kenneth Branagh as Lockhart. At 9, we got Emma Watson as Hermione. At 8, we got Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid. At 7, we got Ray Fiennes and as Voldemort. At 6, we got Richard Harris as Dumbledore. At 5, we got Helena Bonham Carter as Bellatrix. At 4, well, there we are. We've got Damien Maggie Smith as McGonagall. At 3, we got Imelda Staunton as Umbridge. At 2, we got Alan Rickman as Snape. And our number 1 is Gary Oldman as Sirius Black. But it's not a terrible list. And it's I mean, like there's a lot of actors in there. Like this is one that with any different panelists, it could be a completely different list. But
for me, I think even with like my sneaky ones in there, I think this was the list I knew was gonna come up. Yeah, I knew, even though I didn't have him, I was like, Richard Harris would probably be on there instead of Gambit. So I'm just glad I got Julie in there. So,
but yeah, this has brought us to the end of the episode in just under an hour. I think it's probably will be the shortest one, potentially in this format. I mean, the shortest one is when I've has veered off format, but I'll have a poll up for what you want next week's topic to be. But Amu, where can people find you online?
You can find me at my name, Amru Moses, everywhere. Facebook, YouTube channel. I got One Gotta Stay is coming back for on Monday, where you have to choose one to stay from 4 legendary TV shows. You got either Breaking Bad, The Wire, Game of Thrones, or The Sopranos. That's what everybody got voted to stay on there to be the 4th. On my YouTube channel, Yuri Reviews. You can also catch me on IG reviews or bite-sized reviews, where we do like really short reviews with a bunch of different critics on there. All over the place.
Kelsey, where can people find you online?
All right, you can find me at KelseyKins90 on Twitter and Instagram. I'm also on the Call to Action podcast, so if you like Schmodown, check me out there. We have some awesome content on that channel. I do have my own YouTube channel as well. It's Kelsey Kirkland, so just search my name and click on my face. If you could subscribe, that'd be awesome. And if you like hearing a bunch of ladies just talk about Harry Potter for like 5 hours, we do have a Ladies' Night special on the Wizarding World on the Call to Action podcast channel, so check that out.
And you can find me on Tape 3 Productions, hosting Late Night of Take 3. I haven't quite decided what next week's topic on Late Night will be, but I will probably announce it when I do decide. I'll have the poll up for next week's Rankum, which I do on Saturdays around this time. And you can find me over on Full Metal, where I host Full Metal Random. This week is going to be a music video challenge with Jeff Vayu taking on Hunter Chambliss and Michael Turner. It's going to be a different-ish format than what I usually do with Random, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And you can find me hosting Classic on Sunday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern. But until next time, keep listening shit.